Hi guys, Anton here from Adventure Africa, and we're back at Kongwini with another 4x4. This one is kind of special because we're lucky that here in South Africa we're the first guys to got it. So you guys in Australia, have a look what we've got today. So with me again, we've got Tony here from Adventure Africa Training and Tours. And Tony, what do you think? Oh my goodness, this thing is hot. Black's not great for the bush there.
No, not really, for many reasons.
So what do you think about the new Land Cruiser Prado?
Well, driving it, yeah, extremely comfortable. The drive is phenomenal. So obviously we're going to play with a few of the buttons still and see what that does. But the drive, yeah, the comfort, everything, the ergonomics of the car, the shape, the style, all just suits.
The big question is this now a real Land Cruiser? Because a lot of guys used to say, yeah, but the old Prado is not a real Land Cruiser. It's a Prado. It's not a Land Cruiser. This one, I mean, it's a throwback to that first Land Cruiser Prado that came out, which was basically a 76 with a nicer interior.
Yeah, look, it's relative. You can see it. You know, the moment you see this car, the moment you drive it, the moment you feel it, it's a Land Cruiser. It's definitely a Land Cruiser. Maybe yes, the old 120s and the 150s, people always felt it wasn't a Land Cruiser. This is definitely a Land Cruiser Prado.
There is a couple of differences. Gone is the barn door gates door in the back. We've got this whole flippy door now. It feels like there's a little bit less space, especially for me with my long legs on the inside, but the interior really looks nice.
Yeah, I feel extremely comfortable in the car. I love the style of it. I love the feel of the steering wheel. Very safe. It gives you that feeling of safety. So yes, there's a few items that we'll have to look at and say, like the rear door, is it a plus, is it a minus? I think it's a 50-50 scenario. A lot of people like it like that, a lot of people don't. There are advantages and there's disadvantages. But the same with the like on the Land Cruiser 300, the split tailgate that we so commonly know of, that we love, which now is not there anymore. So is it there? Is it not? It's just one of those 50-50 things we got to live with.
Okay, Tony, let's talk figures. Now this vehicle is 2.3 tons. Well, 2315 kilograms, and it's got a GVM of 3,100 kilograms.
That's a heavy car.
That's a heavy car, and this GD6 motor is quite capable. I mean, yes, we've got the 150 kilowatt version in here with the 500 newton meters of torque, and I know that Toyota can push it up to 165 and 550 newton meters. I mean, they've done it in the GRS3, but I think the 150 is enough. This is not a street racer.
No, I agree with you. I mean, 165 would be brilliant. I mean, it would be really, really nice to have that extra bit of power at hand. But as we drove here today, on the highway, overtaking trucks, overtaking cars, the acceleration, the power is there. It's there's almost a sense to ask the question: do you need more? No, you don't really. We're going to use the car for overlanding. If we're going to tow trailers and things like that, maybe then we'll start feeling a slight lack of power. But in the meantime, as the car stands now, there's no need for extra more power. Not the way I feel about it, anyway.
So 110 liters fuel tank, and we're getting around roughly 10.3 liters per 100 k's, or just under 10 k's per liter, which means that theoretically you should be able to get between 900 and 1,000 kilometers on one fuel tank.
In a tank, yeah.
That gives you a pretty good range. I mean, I don't really think that anywhere where we're going, we're ever going to need to carry extra fuel.
No.
Much more than maybe a 25 liter jerry can.
I mean, in all my years of touring, in the last couple of years, the last thing that I worry about is actually filling stations. The gaps between filling stations are plentiful. So, having a range of nearly 1,000 kilometers, that's going to be your last worry.
So the inside, they've changed a couple of things. I mean, it is a little bit smaller than the previous version. And yes, for me with a tall oak like me, it's a little bit narrow in the front seats, but there's ample space actually.
Yeah, it is a lot more compact, but the ergonomics of the dashboard, the screen, the dials, everything very easily to operate and very, very simple to negotiate. What that compact, I mean, as you said, you're a nice tall guy, so you feel it more so than we would. But that compact feeling gives you a very safe, comfortable feeling. the steering of the car, the sitting position, it's just everything just gels well. It really, really is neat.
Well, the interesting thing is that you also said dials, but there's no dials in there.
No.
We've got a fully electronic LED screen
Yeah.
for your instrument cluster.
I think as the future is and the technology is advanced so much so that every car is going to have that in the future.
Funny enough, the 300 doesn't.
That's true. That's true. It's got a gauge,
It's
analog
got
gauge.
it's
Yeah.
got analog gauges.
True. Yeah.
So it's going to be it's interesting that this one has it. What is more interesting is to see the layout and everything that is in there, and I think we can also take a little bit from that, and maybe it gives us a slight glimpse into the future of what we're going to see in the Hilux as well.
Yeah. Heads-up display. It's, like I said, everything's in the right position. Everything just works.
We have not spoken about the tailgate. The tailgate now doesn't swing like a door anymore.
No.
It flips up.
Is that a controversial subject? Was it a...
I don't know, because of that, the spare wheel is underneath the vehicle. It's not on the back anymore.
lowering the ground clearance?
Lowering the ground clearance, and I've seen that spare wheel on a 300 become a bloody plow,
Yeah.
because it's a problem. In my opinion, it's not the greatest design for a 4x4, because we spoke about it earlier. You're stuck in sand.
Oh, that's it.
How are you going to get that thing out?
Yeah.
There's no place here for a high lift jack to connect to the vehicle. You're going to have that little bottle jack that they've put in here, and how are you going to lift this thing?
No, it's not going to work. You see, if you look at the back of this car, and if you look at a lot of cars like this now, so what they've done, the seats, for example, the seats now fold into the floor. The spare wheel is underneath. So having the seats folded in and having the tyre underneath is stealing a lot of space.
Yeah.
You know, in my theory, I mean, is it a family car? Is it a car that needs the extra two seats? Well, again, you know, it would be a yay or nay. But all that space we're losing, it's a big problem.
And claiming that you know, and this is not just this vehicle, but a lot of these guys that says, listen, here's a 7-seater.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who fits in the rear of those last two seats, because they're tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally have to be a little person to fit in there comfortably.
Yeah. So I suppose that's what they want. You know?
But okay, enough talk about little people. We're back at Conguini, and we're going to take it through its paces. We choose Conguini because we know what we're getting. We know what we're going to put the vehicle through. So we're able to ensure that we're not going to try and break it. It's a controlled environment, and it's a good thing for us because we can compare vehicle to vehicle to vehicle as the terrain doesn't change. But yeah, I'm going to let Tony get behind the steering wheel, and I'm going to try and show you how everything works. But yeah, let's get going.
Okay, so what's nice about the new Land Cruiser Prado is that we're very familiar with most of the buttons and levers and switches and that. Besides all the safety features and benefits and features of the car, Anton will go through those at a later stage with you. So I'm going to show you a few of the four-wheel drive stuff that, like I said, very familiar with. So what we start off with is obviously our very, very simple high and low range lever. It's a matter of putting it into low range. If the car is not in neutral, you'll hear the car make a noise. So what the car is asking me to do is to put it into neutral, and then she'll go into low range. What's really great about this car, it also has a center differential lock, which can be done on the fly, and that is used normally for high-speed gravel roads. Adding that center differential lock with a rear differential lock just makes this car extremely formidable. If you look at this little button here, this is called VSC, Vehicle Stability Control. This button can be switched off in high range, on a high speed, well, shouldn't use the word high speed, I should say more like very thick sandy tracks where you don't want the car to be fighting you with traction control and brakes being applied while you're driving, so you can disengage this. It's a little trick to disengaging it. It's a matter of pressing the button and holding it for 4 seconds. on the dashboard, 2 lights will come on, showing you the little VSC button and traction control off. So there we have our VSC turned off there for us there. And what we'll do is we'll also disengage collision avoidance and lane assist. So one other button we've got in this car, which is a little bit of an additional button to us, is to disengage the stabilizer bar. So what's really going to be exciting is to actually feel the difference between having this engaged and switching it off. So I'm quite excited to see this one happen. What we do have is electronic handbrake. Is it a positive? Is it a negative? I find it possibly a negative if we're going to do a lot of mud driving, etc. But we have a nice handbrake hold button, which allows you to hold on a hill and to pull off with comfort. 2 additional buttons that we use a lot. The one is multi-terrain select. So once you've engaged it, it'll come up with multi-terrain select on the dashboard, and then we have a rotator dial which sends us through rock, sand, from auto to sand to mud to rocks. Now it's vital that you actually use this button and use it correctly, because if you're driving in sand, it's no good having it selected on rock, because the car's just not going to perform well, and vice versa. If you're in rocks, don't put it on sand, because you're going to battle to get over the rocks. Each multi-terrain select button feature that you've selected is vital for the right type of driving that you do. Right, so what we've gone and done is we've selected the manual transmission into a manual mode. So we've selected first gear at this stage, and now we're going to select a rotator multi-terrain select button to select what we're going to choose. So as we rotate it, it will start off in rock. Like I said, important to use this mode if you're driving in rocks, as is important when you choose mud. Choosing the right button, very important, and vice versa, sand. And then of course auto, which would be just your general 4x4ing. The car will automatically suit and find the right amount of traction control needed, the right amount of power, the right amount of braking when necessary. Okay. Right, so we have one more exciting button to go through, and that is your downhill assist and crawl control. If you ever have this feature in your car, you'll discover it is an amazing feature. We will definitely use it, and it will definitely show you how brilliant it is. Alright, so once again we've engaged the automatic transmission into a manual mode, and what I'm going to do is go over these 2 little hills in front of us using crawl control. I'm not going to use the conventional method of momentum. So what we're doing is just see what crawl control gives us. So I've selected the speed of the crawl control onto number 2 now, and that is absolutely perfect for the downhill. I've taken my feet off the accelerator, my feet are flat on the floor, crawl control, and up she goes without a... Oh, this is so brilliant. So all I'm doing is rotating the dial to control the speed. There I've got it at slowest for the downhill. My feet are still flat on the floor, and the car remains in control. And everything is flying. Oh, that is stunning, man. Absolutely stunning. So in theory, we're going through some cross-articulation holes now. And in theory, crawl control should be able to take me through without any effort from my side. Once again, ideally I should put my rear diff lock on, which I have not done. But I've got some crossover articulation holes here. I'm going to depend on traction control to let me go through. Let's feel how this goes. There she clicks in. Feel that traction control work. Wow, brilliant. My feet are flat on the floor, by the way, so I'm not touching any buttons. And through she goes on her own. There, give it a little wheel spin just to feel it. front wheels in the air, back wheels in the air, and over the car goes. Land Cruiser Prado, you got it right. Well, there we have it. Now we're moving forward once again through these crossover articulation holes, and they're fairly deep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disengage the stabilizer bar now. And now that we've disengaged the stabilizer bar, we can easily and comfortably feel if there's going to be a difference prior to us driving through. And yes, there is. You can comfortably and easily feel the car's a lot more comfortable. And the wheels don't seem to lift off the ground as much. Well, I'm impressed. This is absolutely stunning. Stabilizer disconnected, a massive difference. You can feel the car is extremely comfortable and definitely less wheel travel. Oh, I should say, more wheel travel, less wheels lifting off the ground. Reconnect the stabilizer bar. And the reason for that is I don't want any weight shift in the body of the vehicle when we're going up a gradient, or I should say a side tilt, because I'm going to put all the weight on the one side of the car, and that could be affected if we have items like roof rack loads, more people in the car, etc., etc. So stabilizer engaged. Now 32 degree side tilt, and with this big heavy car, comfortably the car goes through. Switching on the stabilizer bar definitely makes a difference. You can feel it clearly when the car is in a lean, so that when we have roof rack loads, more people in the car, we don't have all that weight shift onto the two wheels that's at the lowest point. So this is a 32 degree gradient. We were in manual mode once again, and the car comfortably, big heavy car, comfortably negotiated that obstacle.
So Tony spoke about all the 4x4 goodies, but this vehicle is actually packed with driver assistant features and so much more. I mean, you've got lane keep assist, you've got adaptive cruise control, you've got rear collision warning, you've got so many features. It's going to take a day to just mention them. Apart from that, you've got a proper wireless charging pad here. We've got 3 USB-C chargers. For some reason, an HDMI cable, but then you also have heated steering wheel, you've got a heated seat, you've got cooled seat. It's not just for the driver and the passenger, but the rear passengers have it as well. Right in the boot, you've got 2 seats that electronically folds out, and ISOFIX all around. You've got the sunroof, and I mean, isn't this the cutest thing? You just get your hand close to it and the light comes on and off. So yeah, the Land Cruiser Prado, it's really packed full of goodies. I mean, why wouldn't you want one? So Mr. Year, in conclusion, it's a terrible car, man.
I wouldn't buy this for the love of money.
Yeah, we need them to drop the price on this so that we
Absolutely.
can get one as well.
And just change the color, and then I'd be one happy bunny.
But okay, so final thoughts.
Well, looking at it, in conclusion, as we say, looking at it on the tar road, we know it is extremely comfortable. I feel safe in the car. I love the compact feel of it. Off-road, the benefits that the features and the benefits that the car offers, the high and low range, the traction control, the downhill assist, everything just works well. I love the feature that you can disconnect the stabilizer bar. That is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, you went really giddy about that.
Yeah, I think that is amazing. The car becomes comfortable. It has more wheel travel. It's just the right thing to do. That And combined with the torque of the engine, again, I mean, we said maybe, is it a bit slow or is it a bit tight? The torque of the engine in this car with its ratios in the gearbox and the transfer box, perfect.
But you also like the traction control system on this thing.
Traction control is always a big controversial subject and a very difficult one because a lot of people didn't understand it. This car's traction control is spot on. It is immediate. It is incredibly quick. Brilliant.
But for sand, people say switch off traction control. This stays on, and in all 4x4s, it actually stays on.
Correct.
You kind of disable it, but you don't.
No, if it finds it needs to work, it switches on and it works. You can switch off all of the other things, but traction control you can't switch off. It works. Although it says TC off, you don't switch that off. You're switching VSC off, vehicle stability control, but traction control will work when it wants to.
Okay.
So even in sand, sorry, going back to the sand, so even in sand, traction control does its job, and it works well.
Okay, you did say you didn't like the side mirrors. It looks a bit chunky for you. I love it. It fits with the vehicle's look. I mean, if it was little, flippin' smooth.
Yeah, I suppose it's all relative and personal tastes, and that the mirrors to me just gave me a little bit of a truck type feeling. They're brilliant because they actually do work well because they can go right down. I can see the back tires. It's got lane assist. It shows all the right things on it as well. So and it's very clear on the highway. So obviously they do work, but it's all personal in the sense of maybe just the styling. Because if you look at this car styling, I don't know what the term is, but this modular look, the angular, the straight lines, it's just so perfect. It's beautiful.
And we were worried a little bit about the departure angle, but we didn't even touch anything. And the ruts that we went through, some other vehicles do get a little bit of a scrape in the back.
Yeah, if we look at some of the vehicles in the past, definitely. I was concerned, and I took it very easy to feel it. And at no stage, not even the exhaust, which is the lowest part, or the spare wheel tire, nothing caught at all.
Interesting fact that if you look, this vehicle's got 18-inch wheels on it. Normally when you see a Fortuner, it's got a 265/60 R18. This is a 265/65 R18, and there's a lot of space. Maybe not for a wider tire. We did see some of the control arms sitting quite close to the tire on the inside, but a 265/75 might be ideal for this vehicle.
I would definitely look like, especially if you're going to do the overlanding type scenarios, because you want something a little bit with a bit more sidewall. You want something a little bit higher, so when you deflate, you get that footprint increase. So that's what we're looking for. So yes, you're right. I think a 75 would be the answer.
And obviously not these highway terrains that they've got on now.
Yeah, I mean, we know why they're on.
All-terrain highway terrains.
Yeah, we know why they're on for comfort and it's called NVH, noise vehicle harshness. So that's what they're looking after, and that's what we buy the car for. But if we're going to start specifying our different demands in life, like overlanding or 4x4ing, then there is some things that we should look at, and the tires would be one of them too.
Now this vehicle is out of our price bracket. 1450 about is the price. 1,450,000 is just a little bit below it. So what else do you get in this price range? You look maybe at the Grenadier.
Yeah, the Grenadier, I mean, if you look at this car, the comfort and the luxury that you're getting, I don't know if the Grenadier is going to be that close.
And maybe a Defender, but the Defender, you start talking loads of money.
Yeah, no, the pricing is just ridiculous. Look, when we say this is a lot of money, it's not expensive. It is a lot of money, but it's not expensive. Because if you had to look at cars in that type of bracket, they're all in the same price bracket. So it's a lot of money, but it's not expensive.
And this is the VXR version. The TX, I think, is just below 1.3 million. So obviously, then you get also the Heritage that's got the nice round lights, the one that I really like. I think about 25,000 Rand more than the normal VXR. But I have to say, I really love this vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me half an hour when they dropped it off for me to get it on some kind of 4x4 track just to play with it and see what it does. But it is impressive.
Ek in Afrikaans sê ek is in my nokkies.
And your noppies.
And in noppies over this car. This would suit me well. I really, really enjoyed it. I love the performance, and I love the comfort, I love the safety, I love the features that the car offers. It's just got everything that you'd want.
one thing I want to ask you, you do a lot of 4x4 training here at Kungwini, and you've seen the previous Gen Prado quite a bit here. How does it compare for you directly?
Well, there's a definite improvement in this car. Because I mean,
But is it a small
no,
improvement,
it's a
or
massive,
is it leaps and...
it's a massive improvement. Number one, obviously, the looks and the shape. But when you talk ground clearance, definitely an improvement. When we talk traction control, massive improvement versus the old one.
So is this a Land Cruiser?
Oh, definitely a Land Cruiser of note.
Well, guys, if you like more of what you see, please like, follow, and subscribe. And Tony from Adventure Africa Training and Tours, and I'm Anton from Adventure Africa. And yeah, guys, we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheerio.